Tua Tagovailoa has not spoken much outside of he's taken judo lessons that Mike McDaniel misconstrued as jiu-jitsu lessons over the past couple of months to try and help his falling, I guess, if you will, help his issues with slamming the back of his head on the turf.
You know what could have helped him with that?
What's that?
Knowing that artificial turf football fields cost 32% more non-contact knee injuries.
I'm glad
How about
you brought that up. I'm glad.
I mean, it might have been knees in this read, but it's to his head.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It might have been a softer fall, Jonas, if he had fallen on some grass, some just good old-fashioned natural grass. You know what I mean? And
I hear you.
American Grass Seed Company Pennington, well, they're on a mission to ban turf fields with their hashtag Flip the Turf movement. So go to pennington.com/fliptheturf now to learn more and sign the petition for teams to hashtag Flip the Turf to real grass.
You're a real broadcast professional, you know.
Hey, man, I just figured I'd just sneak it right on in there, slide right on in
nice.
there, Yeah. That's all.
So Tua spoke yesterday, though, with the media about just sort of his feelings as we head into this upcoming season and the time he missed and the concussions, and he had this to say. Here was the Dolphins quarterback.
I considered it for a time, having sat down with my family, having sat down with my wife and having those kind of conversations. But it would be hard for me to walk away from this game with how old I am, with my son. I always dreamed of growing, playing as long as I could to where my son knew exactly what, he was watching his dad do. It's my health, it's my body. I feel like this is what's best for me and my family. So, I mean, I love the game of football. If I didn't, I would have quit a long time.
So that was Tua talking about considering retirement as we head into this season.
We had this conversation yesterday about Damar Hamlin. It kind of falls into the same lane.
Yeah.
In terms of type of conversation. It's a hard conversation to have. And once again, I probably fall along the same line of thought that I did when I mentioned and spoke about, Damar Hamlin, is that this is these guys' lives. And you learn in life that some things are worth more than others. And when you sit down and you measure it out and you have those conversations with the doctors, you have those conversations with the people that you love and that you trust about what it is that you're doing and why you do it, you make decisions based off of the information. And everybody isn't going to always agree with what you have to say, and people are going to have differing ideas and approaches to what their decisions would be if given the same scenario or situation. But when you get down to the brass tacks of it, Jonas, when you're making a decision that's so big, it's very big. And while some people will try to minimize it and say it's just a game, you don't understand. You don't understand all of the hours that went into you just getting to the game. You don't understand all of the sacrifices and all of the things that have taken place in your life, all the sacrifices that people around you made in your life for you to have this opportunity that you have in front of you. And while people will say, well, that doesn't mean risking the permanent health of yourself in the situation. And I would beg to differ. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. To some people, it means that much. I always told people when I was playing the game, some people would ask me, what do you think gives you a mental, emotional advantage when you're playing the game? And I told them, I'm willing to die. And it would take people so far back. Like they would look at me and they're like they were perplexed, Jonas. But again, like I said yesterday, we say things And it becomes almost cliche, like, oh, you're willing to die for it, or play every play like it's your last play, or whatever it may be. Respect the game. Well, sometimes you get an opportunity to see how true those sayings and how true when guys say it, how much that really, really means. Some guys, this really means living. Your passion is living. If you take away somebody's passion, then you take away, a lot of the essence of what makes them who they are. So, anyways, that's a long rant on just living your life, no matter what the odds or the circumstances may be. And maybe there will come another concussion and another moment where he has to reconsider all of the same things that he's considering right now, and the final decision is very different. It's vastly different than the decision that he's making today. But I think he should have that opportunity to get to that decision, and no one should dictate that other than a doctor saying medically you should not go back to playing ball. Now, that's different. That's very different. But if they're saying all systems are go, you should be aware that here are the risks connected to what you're doing. If he takes that risk and he wants to continue to play, then Jonas, continue to play.
I couldn't imagine if somebody told me, hey, by the way, because of an injury or a physical condition, you can no longer do radio. I couldn't even imagine that. If somebody said to me, you'd be risking your long-term health if you continue to do this, okay. And what else? This is what I love. It's what I love to do. It's like we joke and say, well, you don't have a life. No, I really don't. This is it. This is my passion. I love to do this. I can't imagine being 25 years old like Tua and somebody saying, hey, by the way, in a physical game, in a sport that's all about contact, if you take one more shot, it could be over. I'm with you. I look at it and go, this is him talking about, this idea of him and wanting to continue his career and wanting to be a quarterback for the Dolphins or whoever. It's not about him looking at just what could happen physically. It's about him looking at what would happen if I don't play. If I don't play, where am I going to be at? And I don't think that means that he has his priorities in the wrong place. I just think that means that he's found something that he loves so much. And also, by the way, it's not like this is the first injury he ever dealt with all the stuff he dealt with at Alabama and the multiple surgeries on his ankles, and then also, the stuff with his hip. He almost lost his career on that play in Alabama that ended his college career. That could have been it.
Very true.
I remember watching that, and it was during a Saturday show I was doing with Bucky Brooks, and I said to Bucky during one of the breaks, I was like, hey, man, that might be it. He goes, that did not look good at all. He's all, that did not look good at all. And so when you see what these guys are willing to go through and what you guys go through to get back out there, like an Alex Smith, man, seeing Alex Smith the first time he took the field after having that surgery and everything he went through almost dying, you're thinking, man, is it really worth it? Well, to him it is, because he's thinking about, what if I can't do this anymore? And at least...
did you see Alex's leg after the surgery?
Unbelievable. Still,
to this day,
it doesn't look right.
It's deformed.
Yeah.
And that man still came back out and played.
And the first game back with Washington, he was playing against the Rams. And who's the first guy who got a hold of him, first physical contact? Aaron Donald. Maybe the last person you'd ever want to see on a football field, and that's the guy who got a hold of Alex Smith his first time back. It's just their willingness to go through this and what you guys are willing to accept as a reality of the situation and how things could end. That, I think, just shows, like you mentioned, the passion that these guys have.